Let's be real for a second. You've probably cranked out literally thousands of crunches, sweat through endless floor routines, and yet that elusive six-pack is still completely hidden. Well, before you scroll away, listen to this. The problem isn't your genetics, and it's definitely not your work ethic. Most people are spending their valuable time doing the exact wrong movements. Welcome to this Core Explainer, where we're cutting through all the influencer noise to reveal the actual biomechanical truth of how to build visible abs. Why are they still hiding? I mean, we've got to validate that frustration first. You've probably tried it all, right? The grueling 30-day ab challenges, the morning planks that make one single minute feel like an absolute eternity, those intense routines demanding 200 reps of fast, sloppy movements. You are putting in massive amounts of effort. And sure, your core might even feel a little stronger underneath it all. But the visual results, they just don't match the sweat equity you're putting in. It genuinely makes you want to throw your phone across the room when you see someone online effortlessly claiming all you need to do is just do crunches, bro. Which brings us to a massive, hard-hitting wake-up call from the source material. You're spending hours doing the wrong exercises. It hits hard, doesn't it? But it perfectly exposes the biggest lie in the fitness industry, that more volume equals better results. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Doing 1,000 useless repetitions a day isn't a badge of honor. It's honestly just a recipe for a bad lower back and zero progress. We need to completely shift how we view abdominal training.
Section 1. The brutal core truth. Let's look at the biomechanical reality of why standard, mainstream ab workouts are completely failing you. Think about what people assume works versus what actually does. Chasing the burn usually means fast reps, relying heavily on momentum, and training every single day. It's exhausting, for sure, but it's not actually stimulating muscle growth. Instead, you need to be chasing tension. We're talking slow, agonizing control, progressive overload, and training just 3 to 4 times a week. See, your core doesn't respond to volume the same way your legs or chest might. It responds to sustained tension, full range of motion, and gradual progression over time. Okay, let's dive into this and lay down the 3 non-negotiable rules for actually waking up those abdominal muscle fibers. First, abs require progressive overload. If you want a bigger biceps, you wouldn't just curl a soup can 500 times, right? You'd add weight. Abs are exactly the same. Second, tension and control trump your rep count every single time. A fast rep is simply a wasted rep. And third, breathing. Ignoring this is a massive mistake. You must forcefully exhale during the effort phase of the movement. This actively increases abdominal activation and essentially pulls the muscles tighter. Section 2. Mastering deep core stability. Before you can sculpt the superficial muscles that everyone actually sees, you have to build the invisible foundation. So, meet your transverse abdominis. Think of this deep core muscle as a natural internal weight belt wrapping right around your spine. Strengthening this specific muscle is the literal foundation of every visible ab you will ever build. If you skip this, well, nothing else is really going to matter, and your stomach will never have that tight, flat, defined look, even if your body fat is super low. To target that deep core, we use a move called the dead bug. It's an absolute staple in elite athletic training. You lie flat, bend your knees to 90 degrees, and bring your arms up. Then you slowly lower your opposite arm and leg. But here is the absolute critical key. Your lower back must remain glued firmly to the floor. The exact moment your back arches and peels off that floor, you've lost the exercise entirely. It's supposed to feel like your core is bracing against a punch. If it doesn't burn, you probably need to slow down your movement by like 50%. Now, we also have to talk about static isometric stability, stuff like planks and hollow body holds. The sources point out some honestly hilarious but critical errors here. First, do not sag your hips like a sad bridge in a plank. And please, don't stick your glutes up in the air like you're trying to signal aliens just to avoid the tension. Keep your body in a perfectly straight line, squeeze your glutes, brace your core, and just hold it. And most importantly, do not quit when it gets hard. Quitting before the muscles start violently shaking is a massive mistake. That feeling where you're shaking like a leaf in a hurricane, that is exactly where the muscle growth magic happens. Section 3, Sculpting with Spinal Flexion. Now that we've built the foundation, we can focus directly on the rectus abdominis itself, the superficial six-pack muscle. And this brilliantly illustrates the key to unlocking those stubborn lower abs, the posterior pelvic tilt. Your lower abs respond best when you bring your hips toward your rib cage rather than bringing your rib cage toward your hips.
Mastering this specific, really subtle tilt is the missing link for complete lower abdominal development.
The ultimate exercise for this is the flawless reverse crunch. Lying on your back, you bring your knees toward your chest and curl your hips slightly off the floor using only your abdominal strength. You absolutely must eliminate all swinging or momentum. I see people kicking their legs wildly at the gym all the time. If you do that, you're just using your hip flexors, not your abs. It's a really small movement, but trust me, small does not mean easy. Lower your hips back down with complete, agonizing control. Building on that spinal flexion, the expert consensus actually highlights 3 elite movements to focus on. First up, weighted crunches. Not half reps, but full spinal flexion using a dumbbell or weight plate across your chest to force that progressive overload we talked about. Second, controlled leg raises. Treat the floor like it's lava here. Don't let your heels touch. And remember, the lowering phase is where the real work happens. Finally, rollouts. Using an ab wheel or, hey, even just socks on a slippery floor, this combines extreme anti-extension strength with maximum range of motion.
Section 4, Obliques and Dynamic Control. This is where we integrate dynamic, heart-pumping movement to target the sides of the waist. Take the classic bicycle crunch, for example. The difference between doing these right and wrong is kind of insane. Sloppy execution basically looks like a beetle stuck on its back, flailing around, pulling dangerously on the neck, and wiggling as fast as possible. That does literally nothing for you. Elite execution requires slow, deliberate, highly controlled twists. It's about deep torso rotation, bringing the shoulder toward the knee, and genuinely squeezing the obliques. Rotation plus flexion equals visible abs. To cap off the physical work, we rely on dynamic core finishers. First, mountain climbers. Think of this as a horizontal sprint that acts as a fantastic tool for fat loss while demanding crazy core stability. Keep those hips down. You are a mountain climber, not a twerking instructor. Run until your legs literally feel like jelly. Second is the bird dog. Extending the opposite arm and leg, this isn't about burning fat. It tests your ultimate core balance, teaches anti-rotation, and protects your spine. If you start wobbling like jelly on a washing machine, your core is failing, which actually means you're doing it right.
Section 5, the unavoidable kitchen reality. We've covered the flawless biomechanics, but here is the final reality check. This brings us to the ultimate six-pack formula, and it's basically split into 2 equal halves. On one side, you have the work, training 3 to 4 times a week, ensuring progressive overload, and maintaining strict form. But on the other side, you have the lifestyle, maintaining a caloric deficit, getting at least 8 hours of sleep to actually recover, and being incredibly consistent with your hydration and nutrition. You can crunch until the cows come home, you can master the dead bug and the reverse crunch, but let's be real. You simply cannot outtrain a diet of daily pizza. So, the crucial point is summarized perfectly by this quote. Abs are revealed, not created. If your nutrition is bad, no workout will save you. This explainer has given you the tools to build the dense, strong muscle underneath. But stripping away that layer of fat to actually reveal the muscle, that requires absolute discipline in the kitchen. It's a dual-front war, and you have to fight on both sides. So there it is. You now understand the biomechanics. You know that tension matters way more than volume. You know exactly how to activate your deep stabilizers, flex your rectus abdominis, and target your obliques without wrecking your spine. You also know that your diet dictates your visibility. The mystery is completely gone. It's not about genetics, it's not about some expensive gym membership, and it is certainly not a magic supplement. It is just consistency and having the right information. You have the blueprint. So what's your excuse now? Put the phone down, get on the floor, and start rep 1.